The freezer finally packed in. I went to get food out of it last night and then everything was just completely melted. Very upsetting. I've now binned it all. There was only like 6 of our batch cooked meals left, so it's not an absolute disaster. It's all been binned. We've got a new freezer arriving on Saturday from Curry's. They're going to take this one away for just an extra £20, which is fine. And then we're going to do the batch cooking again at the weekend. So I've got more of the little takeaway trays arriving, hopefully before Saturday. The new freezer arrives on Saturday. Saturday and Sunday is batch cooking time. It's not ideal because it means I have to cook for the rest of this week, which, oh, what a hardship. It kind of is, because I've still got loads of this exam marking stuff on the go, and it is taking up so very much of my time. I have hit my 25% target with the exam marking today, which was due tomorrow. I've got to do 2 more schools to hit the coursework target, which I'm going to do after I've done this vlog. So I'm on target. It's just taking probably 3 hours a day, every day, on top of everything else that you already know I'm doing. So it's not ideal. Stupid fridge. You're probably rejoicing that there's not going to be that horrible buzzing noise in the background of all my videos anymore. But yeah, it's unplugged. It's ready to be picked up. That was a longer intro than expected. Hello and welcome to what is going to be the third and final part. I know it's very dark over here. Let's turn some lights on. The third and final part of my epic Kev tries to figure out what weight loss plan to follow trilogy. I'll explain all in a moment. Pile's getting smaller. Pile has to be about 40% gone by this time tomorrow. It's very nearly there. This is good stuff. So for the final part of my epic trilogy of weight loss videos, thank you first of all for all the responses that we got to yesterday's video. As of the latest count, and bearing in mind that video's only been out about 12 hours at this point, 41 responses, all, pretty much all, incredibly helpful, giving me really good advice about what I need to be doing weight loss wise. Like I've explained in a couple of videos before, I kind of already know, but it's just reminding myself that I know. And I've come to a decision. I think you could probably tell I was leaning towards it in yesterday's video anyway, and certainly the comments that I received yesterday have pushed me over the edge. Weight Loss have a 2-week cancellation policy. I have activated it. My 3-month subscription to Weight Watchers that I paid for on Saturday for £38, I've cancelled. I've just stuck that straight back into MyFitnessPal. I've bought a year's subscription to MyFitnessPal Premium for $39.99, so it's pretty much the same price. And I didn't need to do that. I could have used MyFitnessPal perfectly adequately without paying any money for it, but this gets rid of the adverts, and it also allows me to drill down a little bit more detail into all the tiny little details of nutrients and stuff. And you know how obsessive I get about things. I like my detail, I like my obsessive little bits of information, and I think being able to really analyse each meal and have a look at like calcium and vitamin C and all that stuff, I think that'll appeal to me. And for the sake of money that I'd already spent, basically, just sticking it back in on something else, I think that's reasonable, and it will make me more likely to use MyFitnessPal. So the final part of the decision, the final thing that you lot need to help me do, and I'm not going to get the phone up on the screen again today, just take my word for it. MyFitnessPal, I'm in there now, I'm setting my goals, because we had quite a long discussion in the comments again about whether or not I should include my exercise calories in my amount of food that I'm eating. So if it allows me, I think it was allowing me 2,000. I put myself in as not active at all, with a view to then adding my exercise calories on top. So on days when I walked more, I could eat more, in theory. On a normal day, I'll have about an extra 900, in fact I can tell you, 900 and, why is it not showing me today? Exercise, I've not synced today. Yesterday, 1,001 calories from exercise were added onto my amount. So what started as just over 2,000 calories as a daily allowance became just over 3,000 calories for a moderately active day, which seems okay. If I look at MyFitnessPal on the goals thing and tell it I'm moderately active to begin with, and then ignore the exercise, and say, right, I just want to lose half a pound a week. I'm going to try and take this slow and steady. I don't need to be dropping £2 a week, I don't think. Half a pound a week would be fine. If I can do it for a year, that's fine. That gives me 3,000 calories a day, ignoring exercise. I don't know which of those options is best to do. I realise I've probably not presented either of them to you very well. Do I continue down the route of, okay, there's two decisions we need to make. Let me try and be a little bit clearer. Decision one, should I be aiming, the options are to lose half a pound a week, £1 a week, £1.50 a week, £2 a week. Obviously, it would be nice to shed some weight quickly. I would like to fit into my clothes a little bit better if we're going to Play Expo in Blackpool, especially for EGX and Comic Con later in the year. I'd like to be back in XL t-shirts rather than 2XL. So it would be nice to think that if I stick at it for 3 months, I could lose a couple of stone. So the £2 a week thing really appeals to me. But on the flip side of that, 2,000 calories a day terrifies me, because my breakfast today was nearly 1,000 calories. I carried on the whole basis of just eat what I'd normally eat and see how much it's worth, to try and educate myself into that process. And for me to have a bowl of honey nut cornflakes, I know they're not a good thing to have, but a bowl of honey nut cornflakes the same size I normally have, plus 2 pieces of toast with dairy and a cup of coffee, came in at 947 calories. And I was hungry again by 11 o'clock. Now, I know if I was dieting at the same time and not just figuring out how much stuff was, then I would have had Weetabix or shredded wheat and I wouldn't have had the toast. So it's not a disaster. I can make a breakfast that's 400 calories and I can stick to 2,000 calories a day. I did it throughout January this year, lost about a stone doing it. But as you all saw, I couldn't stick at it very long. So bearing in mind, I'm busier now than I was then. I've got other stuff going on in my head and in my life at the moment, with all the work stuff and all this working. I mean, we looked a couple of weeks ago, I was working, was it 96 hours a week? I've now added another 3 hours a day onto that, and the other stuff hasn't gone away. So, I mean, my brain's so frazzled it can't even work out like this. What's that, 115, 120 hours a week at the moment? I don't have time to have willpower or to think about this too much. That's why I'm getting you lot to do my thinking for me. So, I'm going to put this to a vote, I think. I'll figure out how to add a poll onto the video. Failing that, I'll link to a straw poll or something, or I might even forget to do both and it will just be a general consensus in the comments. But let me know, do you think I'm better off aiming for £0.5, £1.50 or £2 weight loss per week? I think £0.5 is really easy to stick to. And I'll stick to it. I can stick to £0.5 for the next year. I'm fairly confident about that. £2 though, I'll lose a lot more weight quicker, but realistically, I'm not going to be able to stick to it. For example, when we go to Blackpool, I won't be able to stick to it then if I'm on 2,000 calories. 3,000 calories a day, I could potentially stick to whilst away for the weekend. So it means it's something I can incorporate into my daily life, day in, day out, if it's £0.5 a week. But it's going to be much longer before I start noticing results. So say you start noticing results when you shed 10% of your body weight. 10% of the body weight for me is £30. If I'm losing £0.5 a week, it's going to be a year, more than a year, before anyone starts to notice that I've lost any weight. That's some incredibly slow progress. So do I go somewhere in between? Let me know what you think about that. And then the other thing is what we do about the whole Fitbit exercise calories thing. Because my instinct has always been, and I might be wrong about this, I don't know how accurate these Fitbit things are, but if I set MyFitnessPal up to be no exercise at all, and then use the actual exercise I've done that day, so the actual steps I've done to work out how active I am and add the extra calories on, that gives me a really accurate figure for how many calories I've burnt that day, and we can look to take a deficit off of that, if that makes sense. So I've always assumed that was the right way to do it, but so many people were telling me yesterday that's a bad idea, and what I should do is tell it that I'm moderately active, and then ignore whatever Fitbit tells me. Basically ignore that Fitbit exists. Try and get some extra exercise as well, but ignore that Fitbit exists. Which to me seems less accurate, but I guess it means, I mean, on a day like today, I'd have the same allowance. It would be 3,000 calories because I've done enough exercise through being at work all day and on my feet all day to add that extra 1,000 calories on. But does being on my feet at work all day add 1,000 calories on in reality. I know someone compared it to running a marathon, and when you run a marathon you burn like 2,000 calories, but that's just like 3 or 4 or 5 or however many hours it is of intense effort, whereas I'm shifting 21 stone around rather than lying flat on a bed, which is what 2,000 calories a day is. I'm standing up, shuffling about, moving around. I'm not exerting myself, it's not exercise, I'm not out of breath, my heart rate's not rising, but I am moving about. There's calories being burnt by doing that. Shifting this much weight around between 8 in the morning and 4 in the afternoon without really sitting down for very long, I think that's worth 1,000 calories. Maybe? I don't know, I don't really understand. So the second question is, should I decide how active I am, tell MyFitnessPal that and then ignore Fitbit, bearing in mind it will sometimes be really inaccurate, because there'll be days like when we go to the Saturday of a convention, for example, when we can do 25,000 steps. And the Saturday at Comic-Con the other week, I think it told me I'd burnt something like 7,000 calories. I don't know how accurate that is. Read into that what you will. But then there'll be some other days, like, I don't know, this Sunday just gone. Did I do anything on Sunday? I don't think I did. Where I can just sit on this chair all day, only do 1,500 steps, and in reality I've probably only burnt about 2,200 calories. So if I eat 3,000 calories that day, I'm overeating. So using Fitbit allows me to more accurately map my calories against what I'm doing, but it only works if Fitbit's accurate. So that's kind of what I'm really asking. So I know this has been a much longer waffle than I expected, and again I apologise, this is the third and final part of trying to get my head around this. You've seen me try and do this a couple of times already this year. There you go, I'm trying to do it properly this time. I hope it's not been horrible audio all the way through, or else that's a disaster. I've just realised my phone was under the camera. But what I'm asking is, how much should I tell MyFitnessPal I want to lose every week, and then do I include Fitbit, or do I just say I do moderate exercise? Let me know down in the comments what you think is best. Tomorrow we've got the Q&A, so remember, if you haven't got your Q&A questions in yet, stick them in the comments for either this video or yesterday's video, and we'll sort them out tomorrow. And then Thursday we'll talk about something other than weight loss. Promise. Thanks for watching.